Welcome to the Two-Way Street podcast with Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting and Rob Berry of St. Louis Bath and Renovations. Our aim is to bridge the gap between contractors and consumers. Remember, communication is always a two-way street.
So welcome, I'm Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting, and this is my good friend
Rob Berry with St. Louis Bath and Renovation. Thanks for watching.
Okay, yeah. So what are we going to talk about today, Rob?
We're going to talk about something super boring, but very important. We're going to talk about managing expectations through better communication, whether that's contractor to client, whether that's client to contractor, or whether that's husband to wife, friend to friend, partner to partner, whatever it is. You will have a better outcome if you guys state your expectations and go. Have you ever gone on vacation and you just pointed the car in the wrong, in just whatever direction?
All the time.
If you're going to Disneyland, you can't point it to Louisiana. If you're going to Niagara Falls, you can't point it to Quebec. You've got to point that thing to your destination. So have a destination in mind when you have a conversation. Have an idea of where you want to go so that you're letting the other person in on what's up here.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We chatted about this earlier that, as a kid, I'm older than you, but we're both a little bit older. When we were told, be back in when the street lights come on, our parents' expectation was when they start to come on.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you're like trying to push the edge of it all the time. So if we're not communicating those expectations, then as a contractor, so if you don't communicate that expectation to a consumer, what can happen?
Yeah. Hey Rick, remodel my bathroom for me. And
Right.
What do you say? What's a bad contractor say?
Sure, I'm on my way.
And what's a good contractor say?
Before I answer that question, could we get a little bit more information? I need to ask you some questions.
That's right. Mrs. Smith, I'd love to know a little bit more about your situation before I may not even be able to help you. We want to find out if I can help you first.
So what kind of questions does a seasoned contractor ask Mrs. Smith?
First off, I think before you ever even pick up that phone when it starts ringing, you better know what kind of contractor you are. Are you a contractor that's in it for the quick buck? Are you in it for the long haul? Are you going to be a contractor for the next 10 minutes or the next 10 years? Which are you? And if you're the contractor that's going to be there for the next 10 years, you better ask different questions, because I can tell you when I was younger, I didn't ask all the right questions. And we're still learning. We're not expecting perfection. You're not going to attain perfection from listening to this podcast, but you will get one or two nuggets that'll land if you're paying attention and taking notes. And we've got AI notes at the end of each podcast. If you check that, you'll see everything is our notes already taken. You can print that out. If you're taking good notes, you'll get one or two things that will be invaluable to help you ask better questions, because better questions are going to help you and your client arrive at that same point where they're happy. You got a 5-star review and you got tons of referrals.
Absolutely. So, excuse me. So the purpose of having those questions, it sounds really goofy. Everybody says, I've had clients come into me and say, hey, I want processes inside of my business. And I would say, well, you've got processes. They just may not be the processes that you want, or they're not repeatable processes. So those questions, that should be part of your intake process, your client communication process, before it even kicks into your sales process. So asking a question, one of the first questions you should ask is, when do you have a budget? If you're a service contractor, how long has this been going on? Have we been there before, which you may or may not know based on whatever software you're using? And the best question that I've always asked people, new clients, is what made you call us? Specifically, call us.
Yeah. How'd you hear about us?
Right. Yeah. And sometimes they're going to say, the Google. I found you on Google. but you want to dial in to somebody. So if somebody says to you, hey, Rob, I'm giving you a shout because you did work for my cousin and they were really impressed with what you did. So on a level of scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hottest lead ever and 1 being a cold, how hot would that lead be?
Say you at least got to be somewhere between a 6 and an 8 at that point. But that person just reaching out, you don't know anything about their job. Referrals are wonderful, but they may have that champagne taste on a beer budget. You know, that analogy and that quote that we've all heard about, and is sometimes very comical. But you've got to make sure that this is your type of client, and clients. Not every contractor that you talk to is going to be honest with you. Not every contractor, even the most honest ones, not every contractor is going to be a good fit for you. So that interviewing process has to go both ways.
Right, and we've talked about this before, but it is a relationship. So what are the warning signs that a consumer should look for when they're going through searching for either a contractor to do a renovation or a repair or a service-based contractor? What kind of things should they be looking for as red flags?
That's a really good question. And this is going to, my answer is going to dovetail into our next podcast. Our next podcast is going to be concerned with friendship. And why would I be talking about that? That friendship podcast is going to be discussing of how you should treat other people. And the direction I'm going with this is that any new person that you meet, you should treat them like you've already been friends forever. If you start off that way as a client or as a contractor, I promise you, even when you hit a dead end with somebody or you miscommunicate, if you have their best intentions or your best intentions at heart, you're trying to meet their expectations, and you let them know when you succeed or you fail, you're probably gonna succeed versus fail. So I would start there. Treat that person as a friend. And to Rick's question, exactly, if they ask questions, if the client asks questions or the contractor asks questions that are not what a friend would ask, to me, that's a red flag. Hey, Rick, why are you calling me? What, do you have money or not? That would be a terrible thing to say. And I make it very, very obvious to be blatant and funny. Rick, you're trying to remodel your bathroom. How do you want it to look? Imagine we were just finished and you're writing the last check right now and we're about to walk out the door. What's it look like? Paint that picture for me. That's a great question. Right. It'll be a great question for everybody, but that's a great question.
Yeah, and that was a great point, not being adversarial. And misunderstandings over expectations can lead to adversarial engagements, relationships.
Yes.
So if you are somebody who wants to get or needs to get something done, and it's not something that is really kind of high on your list of exciting things to do, like getting new shingles or gutters or things like that, just stuff that's regular maintenance, you're not going to be the happiest person. So you're just kind of kicking tires, and that's how you can come across. If you've never dealt with a contractor, there may be some fear behind it. So you have to make sure that, if you're reaching out to somebody, that they're willing to engage with you. So be transparent right up front.
100%.
And
100%.
Right. And as a contractor, take it as everybody, when the phone rings or you get an email as an inquiry on something, take it as a blessing. Like, this person is reaching out to me. They may or may not be your client, but the fact that they've just reached out to you means that you're doing something right, or whatever that is. So take the time to engage with this person and understand that these people are stressed out. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They've heard it, I should get 3 quotes. They've heard that plumbers are rip-off artists. They don't know how their electrical system works, whatever it is. So understand that they may ask questions that they unintentionally will offend you with. And it's not intentional, but if you're taking it from, you're butting heads with one another right from the beginning, then that's how the relationship's going to go. So you have to, on both sides, understand that your contractor has got certain expectations. You have certain expectations when you phone them, and the contractor should have certain expectations from you. And if that's not communicated, we have a problem.
Yeah, and you bring up a bunch of good points. What stands out there in my mind, especially for on the communication side, from contractor to client or client to contractor, it's okay for you to tell the other what you don't know. Hey, Rick, I need plumbing at my house, and we've got a leak or we've got a sewer backup. I don't even know what it is. I'm flooded. I don't know what the issue is, and I don't know if I've got enough money to pay you. But
Right.
can I send you a quick video? Can you tell me what this is? Everybody's got Zoom now. Everybody's got FaceTime. You can figure out a way to send a picture or something. All of our new clients, we ask them to send pictures of their current bathroom so that we can get a better understanding. Because not every client that reaches out to us and raises their hand can we help. So even if you don't know, man, it's okay. I've been a carpenter since I was 13. I'm 51. I don't need any more experience to be able to tell you if what you're asking me to do is something that is going to more than likely be successful or more than likely be a failure. If you call me for brain surgery, I can take you apart, but I can't put you back together.
That's right.
But if your house is sagging, or you've got this or you've got that, we can fix it. And if we can't fix it, we already network with the people that can. But it's okay, clients and contractors, I guess, pay attention to this one. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way.
Sure.
If you don't know what you don't know, it's okay to say that, because I can promise you from an honest contractor's perspective, he's going to appreciate the fact that you told him what you wanted and that you don't know. This may be a job you can solve in 5 minutes. It may be something that you can't help the customer out in 6 months because the budget's not right. But if you sow the right seeds, you're going to raise that crop that you wanted. I promise you that, because you may not be able to help Mrs. Smith. Maybe she's looking for something that you don't do, but Mrs. Smith's always going to remember how you treated them. And that's what we're talking about. Good communication and good treatment of one another. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. You said something there that kind of tweaked something with me. A lot of contractors like to make people feel stupid, and I've seen it happen.
You're stupid. Write me a check.
Well, it's like, hey, I'm looking to get my air conditioner replaced. So what size is it? I was like, I don't know. Like some contractors will give you a smart ass answer. Some clients will give you a smart ass answer. So you have to make the communication process and managing those expectations as simple as possible. So understand that it is a relationship right from the beginning. It's got to start off on the right foot.
That's right.
From the consumer's perspective and from the contractor's perspective. So take your time going through that process. If you are a contractor, make sure you have an intake process. Make sure you have questions, and from a consumer's perspective, we talked about this before, that if you're looking to get your washroom renovated, don't ask the guy that's doing the foundation repair for you. Just because you can swing a hammer doesn't mean you can do the work that needs to be done. So it's about expecting excellence over perfection is what you're really looking for. So if your intake process is not perfect, as long as it's excellent and can be improved upon, then that's perfectly fine.
Rick, there may be some contractors that don't know what you're talking about for your intake process. They may think you're talking about the top of a motor and how the fuel and air get in there.
Right. Okay.
Contractors, your intake process is how do you handle every customer interaction, new customer interaction? You've got to have a way to deal with those clients that are raising their hand, whether that's through a phone call, whether that's through the internet, mobile or otherwise. You've got to have processes in place to be able to handle in the same manner when customers call you. When you and I go to McDonald's through the drive-through, they handle every customer the same manner. And clients, you don't know that the good businesses are doing things that way. But when I say it that way, that McDonald's takes your order the same way, don't they? You understand that. So you can be a better client for your contractor, knowing exactly what issue you've got, or, hey, I don't know what I don't know. Here's a picture. And
Mhm.
once they've told you this thing, whether it's a surprise or not, if you know your budget and if you trust your contractor, and that's a big gap there we just covered,
Mhm.
share that information, because like Rick said earlier, hey, you need an new air conditioner. How many tons is it? I don't even know that. And I'm a contractor.
Mhm.
But your air conditioner fix may be 3,500, it may be $7,000. Who knows? But it's okay to share that budget with your client or with your contractor to say, hey, man, my air just broke and I've only got $5,000. Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, it's $7,000 to fix it.
Right.
Oh, fall's coming up. Let's fix it over the winter. Sometimes as a client, you can get better pricing if you give your contractor flexibility. There's a lot of tangents that we're talking about here, but you
Sure,
get the point
absolutely.
that by asking better questions and approaching the other in a non-adversarial way, meaning I want to help my client or I want to find the best contractor and I'm just going to tell them what I know. That's a very good start. It's a very good
Mhm.
Is honesty and being open going to get you taken advantage of sometimes? It sure is. But I'll take that over the flip side of that any day.
Yep, 100%. We're all consumers. We need to know what to expect. You need to, from contractor's perspective, you need to manage those expectations. So this one was about managing expectations. I hope you have found some value in that. I'm Rick Harris of Workboot Consulting.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions about that, or hey, Rick, I loved what you said there, or Rob, I had a question about what you said, put that in the comments. Like, share, and
Yeah.
follow, and we will answer every question that you guys post until this thing gets as big as the Joe Rogan podcast. Then no problem.
That's
We
right.
will answer every question if you subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube. We will answer every single question because we want to help you. We want to help you be a better contractor. We want to help you be a better client for your contractor as well. As my friend said, Rick Harris with Workboot Consulting. I'm Robert Very with St. Louis Bath and Renovation. I hope that that if you have, give us a follow and we'll get you some more content.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.
To learn more about Rick, go to his website, workbootconsulting.com. And to learn more about Rob, go to his website, sdlbr.com. Until next time, work on bridging that gap. Remember, it's always a two-way street.